Different off-road ready versions of everyday crossovers are coming up every single day, it seems. This is the new Mazda CX-50 Meridian edition, and I'm here in the Colorado Rocky Mountains to put it to the real world test, because behind me is Tombstone Hill, and I want to see some of these changes that they've done to this car. Are they actually worth it? Can I get up to that remote camping location? Well, let's figure it out right now. Tombstone Hill is really a test of traction and also ground clearance. It's got two parts, truth and dare. So I'm gonna go up the easier part that we call truth. So why is it easier? There are fewer articulation sections and large rocks. And even though I've been to this trail maybe 100 times over the years, I still have my onX Off-Road app. Why? Because trail conditions change, especially in early season, in May and June, and then late season as the snow starts to fall. So I can check trail reports. I can also check out some areas I haven't been to locally here. So you could also get the onX Off-Road map and see where we go off-roading, and also go explore your areas near you. Check them out using the link in the description below, and TFL Off-Road code will give you 20% off an annual membership. I am really expecting, my expectations are very high out of this. So that was normal mode. Let me switch to off-road mode and see if the behavior changes. You get a little bit of a running start. My expectations are very high, and that's because I've tested many different Mazdas before, and I know their iActive all-wheel drive system is quite good. But the question is, how does the tire and the system behave while going up these very steep climbs with a lot of loose dirt? And the answer is, at least right now, is that there's quite a bit of wheel spin, which is not super great. So ideally what you really want is you want really slow motion, and part of it comes from gearing, right? So if you were, I don't know, in a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon and you had that low gearing in the transfer case, because that's a dedicated or very focused off-road vehicle, you could go very slowly and then all four wheels could be grabbing. What's happening here, I don't have quite as low gearing, but the traction control system attempts to kind of slow down the tires that are spinning and transfer power. But I've noticed quite a bit of spin. Not super ideal. When talking about off-roading, this is critical. It's the type of tire you're riding on. And I think Mazda made a really good choice here. This is a Falcon Wild Peak AT Trail. It's a snowflake rated tire, so it should be quite capable in a variety of different conditions. Of course, I'm not testing it on snow today. And the size of this tire is 225/60 R18, which basically means it's a 29-inch diameter by about 9-inch width. And the sidewall itself is not super big, but it should be good enough for this type of vehicle. Let me see how it descends this first part of the hill, and then I'm also going to try dare. Dare is a lot more challenging, and there's a lot more obstacles, and I may run out of my ground clearance. We'll have to wait and see. There's so much competition in this space. This is basically a compact slash mid-size crossover, And the main competitor that comes to mind is Toyota RAV4 TRD Off-Road. And I think it has kind of a similar character to this new Meridian edition, because the RAV4 has a unique suspension tuning, more aggressive tires, but not any more ground clearance than a standard crossover it's based on. And the story is very similar here. I have about 8.5 inches of ground clearance in this Meridian edition, and that's, you know, not class leading if you can compare it against some of the other quote-unquote off-roady crossovers. Something that comes to mind is, for example, the Wilderness models from Subaru, and Subaru gives their Wilderness models a little bit additional, more ground clearance. And because I don't have a lot of skid plates, it's really nice to have some additional ground clearance so you can avoid hitting any sort of components, suspension components, or other more valuable components like transmissions, engines, and drive shafts underneath the vehicle. I also think Mazda made a really great choice as far as powertrain. This is a turbocharged 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, and if you use premium fuel on this one, you can get a little bit more power, about 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. It's made it to a 6-speed automatic transmission, so a little bit old school, but this is, I think, the way it should be, because when you want predictability, reliability, and also turbocharged power in the high elevations, I think this is the right way to go. So the truth section of this climb, I would not give it the super highest grade, but it was quite capable and was able to get me up the mountain. Now let me try the dare side. Dare I do it? Okay, I'm gonna enter in the same way. There's quite a bit of ABS, quite a bit of traction control systems are working here. But I'm really glad that Mazda really gave it a pretty aggressive tire. I think they could have given it a little suspension lift, and that I think that would help me quite greatly. As I approach these big obstacles, I'm gonna use my support guy and videographer Gavin's help in order to see if I have the clearance. Hey Gavin, can you spot me a little? I just want to see, as I approach these rocks, I just want to see, let me know if I'm gonna come in, you know, if it's gonna come in contact with my front bumper. Okay. Or not. I'm making it very difficult on the system. And I'm also glad that this is a 6-speed auto, traditional automatic, not a dual clutch system, not a CVT. You know, this is quite capable. I'm gonna pause. Check out this interior. I think design-wise, this looks really amazing, and it matches kind of the outdoor motif of this crossover. But it's not a dedicated off-roader, right? It doesn't have solid axles. It doesn't have low-range transfer case for really low gearing, but it does have this. I have basically my drive mode selector here. There's really 3 settings: sport, normal, and off-road. And I'll be using this to get into off-road mode and to climb the hill. I want to assess the situation a little bit because I'm trying to take this line up here. I might be able to climb this way. All right. I may have to proceed. Slowly, slowly, come on. How am I doing? Wow, we did some precision off-road driving, and I had to be precise because I didn't want to scratch this wheel or the bodywork on this car. But I'm super impressed with this tire nonetheless. You can kind of see some scuffs. I hit an edge of a rock with this as I was climbing, and the tire took the hit and kept on going and asked for more. So it's a very tough tire. That's very important. Good? I'm very impressed. You know, a vehicle with like a CVT or dual clutch, I think would have given up by now. We take everything up here, including Subarus. We used to bring some Subarus up here. Kias, Hyundais. Allow me to grab my Where did it go? Flew out? I moved mountains! Huh? Okay. In the center? Okay. Alright guys, so some of those bigger rocks were an obstacle for me. I just don't want to damage the body components. But that's not going to stop me from reaching the top of the mountain. There's a little bit of a bypass here, as I showed you before. So let me line up and we can move forward. This is going to be the real test. If this car can do this, it can go anywhere for you. Most gravel roads, yes. Most slightly rocky terrain. It's not going to do rock crawling as you saw, but it will do this. First, I really like the roof rails. It gives you the possibility of mounting things like this, a roof rack. And this is a pretty beefy one. This is part of their Apex optional package, and it costs just a little bit over $1,200. But you could put your gear up here, or maybe even a smallish tent. This is pretty nice. And it hasn't overheated. I really put a strain on this on a hot day. Some transmissions and some brake systems would have overheated by now, but this did not. Yes. We did it. Look, this is a totally secluded area. There's like 3 camp spots right here, and there's nobody here. And the car allowed us to be here. So that's good news. Sorry I'm out of breath. It's about 8,500 feet above sea level here. I'm a little bit struggling for oxygen. But you're probably wondering, how much does this car cost? Well, it starts at around $40,000, a little bit over that. With the Apex package, that includes, of course, the roof rack and the crossbars. This, as tested, is $43,860. EPA rates this model at 29 mpg highway, 25 combined when you throw in the city in there. So it's a relatively fuel efficient car for that powerful engine that it has and the aggressive tires. We haven't done a real world efficiency test yet on this particular one. This is all focused on off-roading, and I would say I would give it, like, from F to A grade, I would give it about a B-. I think what would have elevated this CX-50 Meridian edition to a B or an A would have been a little bit more ground clearance. You always feel more confident and you can go more places with a little bit more ground clearance. And also a little bit too much wheel spin on this system. I kind of wished it would work either a little bit quicker or just a little bit more smoother. But otherwise, still a very, very good machine for all day commuting and also enjoying the outdoors like this. Thanks for joining me. Check out oldtfl.com for everything automotive. And I wish I would have brought my tent.